This cycle, a prominent XRP chart expert is forecasting a huge 23X spike for XRP. Let me clarify now. Although I'm not making any price predictions, like everyone else, I have some ideas about what might plausibly happen to the price of XRP throughout this cycle. This is the offer. I won't give out crazy figures, but I will say that I wouldn't be surprised if we were looking at something more like a 50x increase. 5 neuro indeed. It's not wishful thinking to achieve that level of growth. In the realm of possibility, it is firmly. And in a moment, I'll explain why I think that. Then there's this. Cointelegraph, a website that has been disparaging XRP for years, just published a headline that truly grabbed my attention. You can tell something intriguing is developing when people begin discussing XRP in a different way. The way the story around XRP shifts so quickly is amusing, isn't it? One moment, headlines are full of pessimism, predicting that XRP will plummet below $1. After a few days, we see headlines like XRP futures, open interest rises 25% as price chart bull flag targets $14.00. Hold on, did Cointelegraph not warn of the crash? Did I dream that? Nope, I think I saw it. However, let's give credit where credit is due. This $14.00 projection appears to be supported by sound reasoning. However, I want to be quite clear. I'm not an expert in finance. This isn't advice on finances. And you most certainly shouldn't base your financial choices on my writing or words. Before you go in, always do your own research. I mentioned something important in my previous video, market tops. When is more important than if? And there will be warning signs when that time comes. We run the risk of hanging on too long and missing the peak if we're not paying attention. Here's the thing. When markets decline, they plummet without hesitation. It occurs quickly. It's likely that you've heard someone liken the rise and fall of cryptocurrency to ascending steps as opposed to using an elevator. Over time, the climb appears constant, but when the drop occurs, the floor suddenly seems to vanish. We must therefore remain vigilant and prevent being caught off guard. I want to focus on one important signal today that we cannot afford to overlook. It's important to recognize the signals, thus I'll be going into great detail on this subject on the channel. When the market becomes a bit too hot, we're getting close to one of those turning periods where we've historically been advised to exercise caution. Before the inevitable downturn occurs, it might be prudent to think about taking some profits. Believe me, the question is not whether, but when. Let me now share this Paul Barron post. He is the inventor of the Paul Barron Network, a huge YouTube channel with 1.43 million subscribers, in case you are unfamiliar with him. Although he claims to be a tech geek, the man is familiar with the cryptocurrency world. He closely monitors XRP and other significant events. Furthermore, he gives off the impression of being an expert in his field. Here's the deal then. He provided this Bitcoin USD chart and made a significant observation. Bitcoin's monthly relative strength index, or RSI, recently surged back over 70, and sentiment surrounding the cryptocurrency is booming. It is formally in overbought territory for the first time in months. To put it simply, the RSI uses a scale of 0 to 100 to assess momentum. An asset, such as Bitcoin, is deemed overbought and may be about to drop back when it reaches 70. Conversely, it is oversold territory when it falls below 30 or less, which could indicate that investors are overreacting to the decline and present a fantastic buying opportunity. Naturally, there is no one-size-fits-all rule here. Depending on the asset, it changes. A stock's distinctive patterns can be seen by examining its performance over several decades. Perhaps the level is closer to 25 or 35 when it's oversold, and it may trend around 65, 75, or even 80 when it's overbought. It's crucial to take into account the peculiarities of each stock. Nevertheless, he's indicating a well-recognized cutoff point. If you go over it, you are formally in overbought territory. However, it should be made clear that reaching overbought does not cause the market to abruptly collapse like a house of cards. It doesn't cause mayhem right away. The story is not over yet. It turns out that it's okay to remain in overbought territory. All it implies is that the numbers continue to rise. At this point, the enthusiasm, retail investors returning in droves, and that iconic Futurama Fry meme shouting, "Take my money," is when the frenzy begins. The ride is crazy, and he's indicating the previous pinnacle of this excitement. I want you to listen to me carefully because of this. The remainder of the movie, or at least 99% of it, will then be devoted to XRP. Returning to the previous two bull cycles, however, Bitcoin reached its zenith when the Relative Strength Indicator, or RSI, surged to about 90. Okay, everyone, let's use a scale of 0 to 100 to analyze this. We've reached 93. In 2021, that's about as nice as it gets. At this moment, Bitcoin sentiment peaked at 87.81. Our current time is 62.18. The rally period of cryptocurrency as a whole is just beginning. And believe me when I say that cryptocurrencies are preparing to take center stage, not even close to the bliss phase yet. Look where we are for a minute. The worst part is that we still have a long way to go. Things become risky as we get closer to those historical heights. The market is going to be booming. Everyone will believe it cannot be stopped. You see, it's soaring high at the moment, so why would it stop? Typical retail speculators have the same mentality, following the hype and frequently suffering the consequences. Here's something to remember as we get closer. The peak has always been lower than the previous one. The possibility that it will be significantly lower this time is not out of the question. Thus, you must make your own decisions. Telling you when to sell is not my purpose. You are the only one who can determine what is best for you. All I ask is that you remain focused and mindful of the wider picture. There's still space, but proceed with caution. A recent post from Crypto Insight UK, an expert on XRP charts, is causing a stir. Additionally, it includes a video snippet from Raoul Pal's most recent livestream. Raoul is a well-known worldwide macro investor and the founder and CEO of Real Vision. He was once an executive at Goldman Sachs. I mean, this man is really smart. He simply understands. In fact, it was Raoul who first made me see the link between Bitcoin's performance and worldwide liquidity. In the past, Bitcoin has nearly exactly followed increases in global liquidity. He streamed live yesterday, and although I missed it in real time, I made sure to watch it afterwards. The discoveries are worth every minute of the hour and 8-minute stream. However, the tone of the live feed was joyous, and rightfully so. Raoul was correct. Bitcoin broke yet another record today after hitting a new one yesterday. Skeptics had criticized him, saying he was mistaken and that events like the Terra collapse would destroy everything. Raoul agreed, and I always disagree with that pessimistic outlook. He was enjoying himself yesterday after being shown to be correct, and to be honest, it was a moment to be proud of. We looked at a number of charts and found many interesting insights. One important conclusion is that the liquidity situation for Bitcoin now is quite comparable to that of 2017. Do you recall what occurred at that time? An incredible altcoin season began when Bitcoin took off. It executed an incredible 23 times rise from bottom to top, reaching a peak of about $20.00. That's crazy, isn't it? It began at little under $1.00. The worst part,